welcome to day 23 of our 30 days of PM challenge. We are inching towards the end of our series of covering topics related to product management and things a product manager does as part of their job and things that they have to manage across the life cycle of a product, right? So I'm Shagun from the Nonsense Lab. We discuss all things about product management and product design, and today we are covering product metrics as a topic, right? So when building products, you have you have it live, you give it to the customers to use and explore the functionality of the tool and essentially solve for their problem, right? So when a user is interacting, you as uh, a user or the owner from the inside or within the organization want to know and understand, right, how user behavior is, how things are going, where are users interacting and where are they spending the most amount of time, and what needs to be improved or taken action upon, right? So these are a few questions you might have once your product has some initial growth and is growing consistently over a period of time. And to make these decisions, you essentially have to build or decide on a few series of metrics that you track, right, over a period of time. These are ways essentially for you to look at the health and how things are performing within your product. Think of it as similar to how, as an athlete, when working out, you always track your calories, track your input, track the amount of steps walked, the amount of time you spend training during your day, and how much time is spent in exercising and all the other stuff, right, as a athlete. So as even as an athlete, in various other scenarios, you look at metrics, right? When you are, for example, looking at views on this video or any YouTube video, we track the number of users or views that a particular video has received, and based on that you can then figure out, has the video done good, bad, if what needs to be improved, and you look at the average view duration, the retention rate, and things like that to understand what needs to be improved, right? So this is why you need product metrics to make decisions, to understand behavior and improve on the value you are already delivering to your customers, right? So that's essentially what product metrics in essence means. I think we have one resource that I found from Gojek which talks about what a product metric is, right? And to summarize, I think it was very well summarized in this video. Product management 101, the game framework. I mean, it also, the game framework is essentially a way developed within Gojek on how do you, with some simple steps, determine the key metrics for a product feature or product in a sense, right? But I think they also summarize about what a product metric really means, right? And what metrics do really mean. Metrics is a lens to look at your product health and performance, right? If things are going wrong, you will see the indicators, uh, having a downward trend, and the metric essentially tells you, is a way for you to look at that trend and figure out that a trend upwards or downwards is happening within your product and you need to fix it. So that essentially is what product metrics do, and I think we'll play this video also later on, and where they explain how you can easily, for example, figure out what needs to be a key metric, for example, for a specific feature, and there are 4 steps to it that they'll explain. But yeah, in essence, we understand what product metrics are. These are ways for us to look at the health and performance of our product, how things are performing and what needs to be improved and looked upon, right? But why should we use them? I think we have already gone through that and covered that. And the other thing is about how product value can be measured through analysis, right, or through this data. I mean, a lot of decisions are backed by data. A lot of strategies also. I mean, even though strategies are abstract, they can be they're not linear in fashion where doing one after the other it might lead to success, but there might be other areas or levers that you also have to pull or take action on as when building strategy for a product, even the same in terms of a startup and an organization. But for you to analyze, you have to understand there are multiple sorts of metrics you can track. There are n number of ways you can look at and track and get data for with the tools that are available in the market now. But you need to figure out what are your key metrics, right? What are the key metrics for your product to take care. So for that, I think we have a list, I think, from Andreessen Horowitz, which is a very well-renowned VC firm in the US, and and their founder Mark Andreessen actually was the founder of Netscape, the browser in the early days of the web and the internet. So but yeah, they have a blog post which talks about some 16 odd metrics, startup metrics, that you need to track when building products or when building startups in essence. And they also mention a few key metrics for your product, right? So when it comes to the product and engagement sort of metrics for you to look at, I mean, the best place to start is look at the active number of users, right? It can be per day, over a period of time, but look at who are these users actively working and actively logging into your product and platform and using it, right? How is month on month growth, uh, over a period of time, every month, how things are growing? Are they growing linearly? Do you have like a hockey stick here after your PMF and things like that, right? So track that. Look at churn, how many customers have actually left, how many you have been able to retain, right? Ideally we would not want a high churn rate. So if your churn rate goes higher, it is an indicator that you probably are losing a few customers, and you probably need to take action about whatever that is and the reason for the customers being churned out. So you can, I mean, measure churn per dollar per customer and the dollar burn. There are multiple churn specific metrics that you can track. But yeah, investors in a sense are looking for the amount of churn rate for a period of time, right? And how much is the net dollar churn that you are receiving for that, I mean, per customer as an average. So these are some things that you can look at as a product team, because product teams ideally are not really responsible for the dollar figures and business goals or sales sort of target goals, but you are in essence a way for the product and the sales team to charge more, right? Where based on a specific functionality or feature, you can, the sales team can charge them higher because of new functionality that is uh, very well built and adopted in the early and existing customer base, and can be a way for you to actually grow in the average order value, right? For the new customers that you're onboarding. So these are a few reasons why you also look at churn even as a product team, and how you can and look for ways to improve it, because as markets grows and as competition grows, the pie spreads, and for you to have like a bigger piece of the pie, you need to provide more features and deliver more details and functionality within the product. Or if it's a D2C product, you probably need to look at the ways you can monetize your platform, existing platform, right? So always look at churn. I mean, it's more important in a B2B sense. It's also important in a B2C sense if you have the segment of customers or users already figured out, who you feel like are eventual buyers of a subscription or a plan. But yeah, look at churn, look at the burn rate you are receiving, which is essentially the cash, right? I mean, cash at beginning of the year minus cash balance at the end of the year. So that's one thing for you to track. And burn rate is very important. For example, many organizations and startups who are planning to IPO and things like that, they always try to reduce their burn rate in order to show signs of profitability, right? I mean, to have an IPO and so on and so forth, but also in their figures when they're reporting for yearly and quarterly updates and board meetings. So that's one thing. Look at downloads. If it's an app, look at the number of downloads you have been receiving over a period of time, how many active users, daily, monthly active users you have, and grow from there, right? And in terms of presenting these metrics, right? Because as I told, a lot of these decisions are strategy, or bigger decisions are backed by data and need to have some data backing to them. So always, I mean, use cumulative charts, show the growth metrics, have chart tricks that you can use that are highlighted here, and talk about them when building and reporting on these metrics, right? But these are a few product metrics in essence for you to always keep tracking of. I mean, you can use multiple tools. You have the likes of Pendo, you have the likes of Amplitude, Mixpanel, and multiple others, right? I think we also have yeah, Mixpanel is already here, but you also have something like Sixth Sense, which isn't really product analytics, but it's more on the marketing and sales side for you to understand your customers and know about them even before you have onboarded them, right? Or they have purchased your product. But yeah, you can always use products like these in terms of activation, acquisition, and understanding potential customers to target. But as a product team or as a product manager, you are always looking at product specific details on, for example, details of a specific feature and its adoption over a period of time, right? If it's a new feature, how things are growing. But yeah, uh, that's that's a series of product metrics and engagement metrics for you to look at and always keep track of if you're using any tools in your current portfolio of managing the metrics and looking at analyzing the data related to the product. But here are a few examples of how different tools look at their metrics based on their value moment. Value moment is essentially the aha moment, which is the time it takes to get to the most MVP or the most valuable point. MVP is not really defined, it's primarily minimum viable product, but in this case let's consider that is the most valuable point, right? And period, where the user can actually feel the real value of the product and how easy it is, right? So the in example of Twitch, where the value moment is watch 5+ minutes of live stream. So if this value moment is captured or generated for the customer, the metric that you look for that is number of users who watch 5+ minutes of a live stream on a weekly basis. So their cadence for evaluating a successful product growth and usage of the product is on a weekly basis, right? Some have monthly, some have quarterly. It depends on sort of the goal you are trying to achieve, but a weekly sort of data period, right, or a period of that essentially is a great way to understand what needs to be taken action upon, right? And if things are going good or bad, improving, degrading over a period of time, you have early indicators within the week as to how within a week things are performing within your product. So yeah, these are a few metrics in example metrics for the value moment the products provide. But in essence, let's also now watch this video from Life at Gojek, where they talk about the game framework and how you can use it to create and capture product metrics for your product.
Performance gitu. Jadi tanpa matrix lu nggak bisa decide apakah produk lu itu doing well or doing bad gitu.
Jadi matrix itu apa ya?
Mungkin instead of kita jelasin apa artinya matrix, mungkin teman-teman YouTuber bisa kamus, kita akan jelasin 4 komponen yang penting ada dari sebuah matrix. Pertama, matrix should be collectible and quantifiable. Jadi matrix must be some value that somehow you should be able to collect with some sort of like instrumentation. Contoh, value yang mau collect adalah speed. Instrumentationnya bisa pakai speedometer. Value yang mau collect adalah suhu atau temperatur. Instrumentation yang lu pilih adalah thermometer. Itu kayak beberapa contoh sih dari matrix.
Yang kedua, sebuah matrix itu mesti bisa nge-track lu punya product performance. Jadi lu bisa sampai mendefine whether produk lu itu is doing well or not.
Yang ketiga adalah aspek. Jadi jarang banget ada sebuah matrix yang bisa nge-cover product health dari fitur lu secara menyeluruh gitu. Kadang-kala lu butuh beberapa matrix yang bisa capture kualitas dari produk lu. Contoh, di feature gua punya namanya live tracking. Di live tracking ini ada beberapa matrix yang kita butuhin untuk measure apakah produk ini bagus atau enggak. Satu, kayak apakah ETA-nya akurat atau enggak gitu. Dua, apakah gerakan vehicle yang ada di maps itu smooth atau enggak. Tiga, apakah data yang kita tampilkan ke customer itu benar atau enggak gitu.
Yang keempat adalah lu mesti make sure kalau misalnya value dari matrix tersebut bisa lu report as time goes by. Nah ini important banget karena lu bisa jadi measure impact dari semua feature release yang lu bikin ke product performance.
Nah, kedengarannya kan gampang banget nih desain matrix tuh dari 4 komponen yang tadi kita jelasin. Tapi faktanya tuh kadang-kadang tuh bisa dihadapkan oleh kayak banyak banget opsi gitu. Lu mau show feature A, bisa ada matrix A sampai Z gitu. Dan itu kayak decide which one yang benar-benar paling relevan buat produk itu bisa jadi hal yang cukup tricky gitu loh. Nah, karena hal itu kita sekarang mau introduce ke kalian semua tentang sebuah framework yang bisa bikin lu pada choose the right matrix for your products, which is adalah game framework.
Kita ini ya.
Terus jangan diulang dari awal ya.
Ayo kita mulai dengan G, which is
Goals.
goals. Goals itu apa sih?
Goals itu adalah ukuran dari awal ya. Jadi matrix itu sebenarnya dibuat dari 4 komponen yang tadi kita jelasin. Tapi faktanya tuh kedengarannya kan gampang banget nih desain matrix tuh dari 4 komponen yang tadi kita jelasin. Tapi faktanya tuh kadang-kadang tuh bisa dihadapkan oleh kayak banyak banget opsi gitu. Lu mau show feature A, bisa ada matrix A sampai Z gitu. Dan itu kayak decide which one yang benar-benar paling relevan buat produk itu bisa jadi hal yang cukup tricky gitu loh.
Yang keempat adalah lu mesti bisa
Nah, let's take a step back dan think our product itu as a box data. Jadi in order untuk kalau lu mau ship sebuah produk yang impactful, lu harus determine dulu input dan output dari produk lu itu. Input itu bisa kayak pain point, limitasi user, atau problem yang mereka alami. Contohnya kalau di pickup experience, pain point user adalah mereka merasa cemas kalau nggak bisa tahu posisi drivernya dari mana. Nah yang kedua lu harus decide outputnya. Output itu kayak outcome atau value yang user lu mau lu rasain gitu. Berarti di sini adalah mereka merasa tenang, ada jaminan drivernya di mana gitu. Nah dari input ke output ini, lu bisa tarik sebuah arrow yang namanya goals. Berarti goalsnya di sini adalah users harus bisa melihat posisi driver mereka secara akurat dan secara gampang gitu. Nah apalagi kalau driver itu udah deket gitu. Jadi mereka tahu driver gue akan datang dengan cepet nih. Gitu. Tapi jangan lupa tadi kita udah bahas user goal kan. Kita nggak boleh lupa juga dengan yang namanya business goal nih gitu. Tadi user goal yang udah kita bahas adalah kita mau customer masa percaya diri ketika apa akan terjadi kan. Nah karena mereka udah percaya diri, business goal yang bisa kita achieve adalah mereka akan harus lagi buat cancel booking mereka, in which itu akan mengurangi jumlah cancellation booking sebagai business goal kita. Seringkali business goal sama user goal ini adalah dua sisi dari koin yang sama gitu dan akan saling berkaitan gitulah kurang lebih.
Yang kedua adalah actions. Nah, lu mesti determine action apa aja sih yang user harus lakuin agar user bisa mendapatkan output yang lu inginkan mereka bisa dapatkan dari produk itu. Nah, kita sekarang udah ada list of action yang bisa membantu lu generate list of action buat produk itu. Nah, di sini udah dibagi jadi 3 kategori. Yang pertama itu fokus more on acquisition of user. Yang kedua on retention and engagement. Yang ketiga on monetization. Nah, untuk pickup experience kita lebih fokus kan which is retention and engagement. Karena kenapa? Kita nggak directly langsung increase revenue, tapi seorang user itu udah mesti acquire sama Gojek dan menjalankan booking sebelum dia bisa meng-experience pickup. Beberapa contoh action buat pickup experience adalah pertama, ketika seorang user membuat sebuah booking misalnya ride, terus habis itu dia lihat kan di screen app-nya, dia bakal lihat pertama kali di mana sih initial location of the driver, terus juga initial pickup itu. Nah, as time goes by, dia bakal lihat nih drivernya bakal mulai bergerak, driver movement dan juga the pickup ETA makin lama makin menurun.
Oke, sekarang kita akan decide bagian paling penting dari formula, which is M adalah metric. Nah, tadi kan Renata udah list down list of actions yang relevan buat kita fokusin di feature of tracking di pickup experience kan. Nah, sekarang waktunya kita buat converge beberapa action ini jadi metrics yang relevan buat produk ini. Oke, time for a quiz time. Nah, sebelum quiznya dimulai, ini ada beberapa guidelines supaya kalian bisa jawab quiz ini dengan gampang. Oke, yang pertama. Kedua. Ketiga. Pertanyaan pertama seputar direct versus proxy. Gue punya 2 buah matrix ini. Kenapa? Lu choose mana yang direct, mana yang proxy.
Ini yang direct, itu yang proxy.
Kenapa itu direct? Coba jelasin guys.
Karena kenapa ETA terus itu direct? Karena lu bisa directly measure itu. Gimana caranya? Dengan mencari comparison antara ETA dengan ATA, estimated time of arrival sama actual time of arrival. Benar nggak sih?
That is correct. Quiz kedua seputar magnitude versus ratio. Ternyata dari audience, gue punya 2 matrix, cancellation rate per day dan booking off. Number of booking cancel per day. Tentukan yang mana rasio, yang mana magnitude.
Yang ini yang rasio dan yang itu yang magnitude. Karena cancellation rate sendiri adalah sebuah rasio, which is the number of booking cancel over the number of booking created. Nah, sedangkan ini yang saya ngomongin sendiri number of booking cancel. Lebih baik sih use matrix yang ini. Kenapa? Karena mungkin aja number of booking cancel itu menurun, tapi karena emang booking creatednya juga menurun.
Yeah, that is correct.
Jadi gimana gengs? Itu seru banget kan? Nah, last part of the game framework adalah E, which is environment.
Okay.
Nah, kita ini which is actually even though this is the last step, tapi ini step yang paling penting karena most probably jadi lu nggak bisa come up with the right, most correct goals, actions and like metrics yang paling baik in the first beginning with itu kan. Nah, karena itu mesti evaluate pertama your G, kayak apakah goals ini benar-benar correlate dengan bisnis atau jadi sukses gua. Nah, terus tadi research, kayak sendiri dan misalnya. Next is on the actions gitu, kayak apakah benar-benar sih action ini actually represent user behavior and user journey, kalau kenapa, kalau kenapa, terus habis itu evaluate. Nextnya lagi adalah evaluate your metrics, right? Kayak apakah metrics itu bergerak dengan tren yang you expect, atau kayak either maybe it's too stable atau itu terlalu fluctuative, dan sebagainya. Jadi kuncinya apa, Dit?
Reiterate. Oke guys, jadi sekarang kita udah beres kan ngobrol-ngobrol tentang game framework ini. Terima kasih ya udah untuk video kita ini.
Semoga penjelasan kita tadi bermanfaat untuk kalian. Kalau kalian suka dengan konten yang kita deliver di Live Gojek setiap minggu ini, jangan lupa untuk subscribe guys, karena subscribe itu gratis.
So yeah, I think that's a very good explanation on how you can build these metrics using the game framework, which essentially is looking at goals, looking at actions, defining the metrics in terms of are they magnitude goals metrics or ratio metrics, and then the other side of things, and then evaluating your actions, evaluating your goals, and evaluating your metrics. I mean the previous three steps again, right? So this essentially is a great way for you to define once a product is, the requirements are frozen and development has begun, you can then start creating details on how, for example, a product feature or a product a product roadmap item essentially can be defined in terms of the goals that you are trying to achieve, the actions that you want the user to perform based on the inputs and the output. This can also apply in the goals side as well. The metrics you feel like are relevant for these, and how you can differentiate in them in terms of which category do a particular metric belongs to. Are they more ratio heavy? Are these more magnitude over a period of time? And then evaluating the actions you've performed, right? So this becomes a cyclic process where with every product feature that you release, you can build these sort of mechanisms to understand and derive what needs to be taken action upon, and what metrics you actually need to track once a feature goes live for millions of customers, right? And then iterate and improve on that and build the right features for your users. But yeah, I think that's one of the main takeaways on frameworks that you can use to build these product metrics and how you can track these product metrics, right? So these are a few details that we covered today on what are product metrics in essence, and I've also shared a few product metrics you can track and look for. I think in tomorrow's session we'll go deeper and segment these like we've done in the and recent article about how you have multiple metrics that you can track. You can look at booking versus revenue, the revenue and business side of things, but on the product side of things as well, you can look at the product metrics itself, or you can look at the engagement within the product as a separate field, right? So engagement can be a specific series of metrics, acquisition for the product can be a specific series of metric, business metrics can be different, and things so on and so forth, right? So we'll look at a few of those examples in our next video and talk about what is, for example, a North Star metric and how you can build that, and how do you decide and come up with, for example, the key metric that you want to track, and go from there. A lot of the time it's revenue, but a lot of the times it's something else. So we'll try and understand more details and dive deeper in the section of product metrics, and make this the next video a part 2 of this. So see you in that. Till then, all the resources talked in this video will be linked in the description, and you can browse and learn more. So yeah, that's it for today. See you guys tomorrow. Thank you.